Hi guys, this is Klazart bringing another audio commentary, and this time I'm commentating on a match between Bisu and July, and I again would like to stress that this does not by any means mean that I am back. The other commentary I posted I actually recorded a couple of days ago, but I just couldn't resist commentating on this match because these are two great players and this is going to be one hell of a matchup, so I just couldn't resist. Of course, Bisu and Julyzerg, both great players in their own right, both have great achievements under their belt. Bisu with the two-time MSL win and July with that OSL win, of course. And July looked in resurgent form this season up until the point, or last season rather now, up until the point where he was derailed by Gorush in that Zerg versus Zerg matchup. But the reason I'm really looking forward to this matchup, and the reason I think it's going to be a great and interesting matchup, is because this is the matchup that both players are strongest at. Bisu's Protoss versus Zerg play is legendary. He's the only Protoss player who's been able to go up against Savior in his prime and win, and he's the 2 times MSL champion, of course, so he is definitely someone that most Zerg players would fear facing up against. And at the same time, July is a Zerg player that makes the Zerg versus Protoss imbalance a reality. And he showed that in his display versus Nalra last season, where he destroyed them in their best-of-3 matchup in the MSL, and that was amazing play by July. And Nalra just looked like he had no answers to July's dominant play. Unfortunately for July, he did crash out to Gorush in the next round, and then Gorush, of course, was beaten comprehensively by Bisu following that in the semi-finals. So this is one of those what-if scenario matchups. This is the scenario. What if July had beaten Gorush in the Zerg versus Zerg matchup, and it was him that had faced Bisu in the MSL semi-finals? Would Bisu still have progressed through to become champion? I don't know, and this is July's chance to prove otherwise, because he didn't get that chance to face up against Bisu last season, and now he does have that chance. So I'm sure he will be eager to prove that he has what it takes to play against the best Protoss versus Zerg player and come out on top after his defeat of Nalra. And he did, as I said, he did look in resurgent form. His slump definitely, to me, seemed to be over, and it'll be interesting to see just how over it is when he comes up against the informed Bisu. I suppose the question will be, how motivated has Bisu been to practice for this after that MSL win? He probably was busy celebrating that victory, and I'm sure that he feels confident, even if he loses this match, that he should be able to progress through to the next round. And that's the other important thing to state here, that this isn't a deciding matchup because of the nature of the on-game net duel tournament. It is a double elimination contest, so even if one of these guys does lose this matchup, that doesn't necessarily mean that they will not qualify for the next season's OSL. They still have a chance of qualification. It'll just be much more difficult. So obviously they'll both want to be winning this game, and they'll both want to prove a point. And so far both players have gone for a fairly standard build. July going for that 1 hatchery into spawning pool and then probably putting up the 3rd hatchery. Now it does look like he's done that right now, and he has indeed done that. And Bisu going for a very standard build. Bisu just sending that Zealot out to try and do some harassment, and July getting that extractor out just in the nick of time, getting that extractor down. It did look to me like Bisu was perhaps gearing up to set up an assimilator there, maybe to try and slow July's tech down, but that's obviously not going to happen. July now has scouted Bisu, and both players, interesting enough, have scouted each other at the same time, because July, I think, initially scouted slightly in the wrong direction. So July's over Bisu's base. He's seen that assimilator, he's seen the tech, he's seen the Stargate, so he knows that those Corsairs are coming, but he's still some time from getting any gas and putting up that Hydralisk den, so he might be a little bit late, and that might give Bisu an opportunity to get a small lead in this game. And that dog is hilarious. A small lead in this game, maybe killing a couple of Overlords, and Bisu now forced to retreat that Zealot because July's spawning pool up and those Zerglings coming down, so Bisu's forced to retreat that Zealot to block his ramp. He wasn't able to harass July's economy, and I think the choice of putting that, and again, I just want to mention, we are playing on Python, which is an amazing map, and I hope it stays next season. I hope it's Monty Hall that gets taken out. But I think the choice of putting that spawning pool down after that 1st hatchery is critical. I think it's too risky not putting that spawning pool down. This guy obviously very excited to be on camera. Congratulations to him. Well done. But I think the decision to put... And July managed to sneak the Zerglings through. He managed to sneak the Zerglings through. And that Dragoon is coming under fire. The Dragoon's almost dead. So July with some brilliant micro, sneaking the Zerglings off the ramp. And Bisu now microing brilliantly in his stead, taking out those Zerglings and keeping that Dragoon alive. But as I was saying, that spawning pool decision was quite critical, because had that spawning pool been a little bit later, Bisu would have gotten that Zealot into July's main and might have killed a couple of drones, might have slowed down July's mineral mining a little bit. And now Bisu's going to sneak up that ramp with the Zerglings gone. Bisu's going to get that probe back in and see the state of July's tech. But more critically, even though Bisu has got that Dragoon up and he has forced July to move his Overlord away, he's still not able to block. And Bisu's got that Corsair out, so he's definitely going to kill one Overlord. I haven't seen if July's July's Hydralist Den is up. He does have a couple of Hydralist Dens, but he's definitely going to lose that one Overlord. He shouldn't lose any more, and I don't think he'll bind. I think most Zerg players that account for losing a single Overlord to those Corsairs, and I think they can cope with that. But I think critical here is the fact that July has kept those Zerglings running in Bisu's base for some time now, so he's seen exactly what Bisu's doing in terms of tech. He's seen that Citadel of Adon. He's going to expect the Templar Archives, and that's why he's positioning his units at that ramp to block that. And Bisu now is ready to counter, because he did produce a few units to combat those Zerglings. He's got about 3 Zealots and Dragoons, and I'm not sure if July has enough to hold off the sack. He's only got about 3 or 4 Hydralists there. I'm not sure if that's going to be enough necessarily. And Bisu is, unfortunately for Bisu though, he's only pumping from a single gateway. He doesn't have a second gateway up. He's putting that Templar Archives down, and the fact that he only has a single gateway means that he won't be able to reinforce his troops. Even if he does win the initial battle, July will be able to reinforce much sooner. And those 2 Corsairs seem to have established some air dominance. I don't think it will bother July too much, because of the fact that he had that scout in Bisu's base for so long. He knows that Bisu's not going to be able to drop. He knows he only needs to really defend that ramp, and July are trying to block that ramp with those Hydralists, and those Overlords coming under fire as well. And July in a little bit of trouble here, forced to bring out the drones to fight. He's chopped one of the Zealots as well as the Dragoon on the vein, and July's Zerglings pop out. July with some great Hydralist micro, and now he's forced to focus on those Corsairs. He just doesn't have enough Hydralists to fight the units as well as the Corsairs, and the Corsairs do manage to kill off about 2 Overlords, so that's going to slow July down a little bit. He's in a little bit of trouble there, but thankfully for July, Bisu's Dark Templar is still some way from coming in, and I haven't seen a Dark Templar pop for Bisu yet, so that's going to give July a little bit of time to get an Overlord up over that ramp, but he is very vulnerable right now. That Templar Archives is up. That Dark Templar should be popping out any second now. July, with a counter of his own, because Bisu had committed his units to harassing July's base, July's got some Zerglings in, and Bisu, in the window of opportunity for July, because those 2 photon cannons are not up, Bisu decided to build those photon cannons rather than produce more units, and again, the one gateway hampering Bisu there a little bit. Those photon cannons are not up yet, and Bisu with his Dark Templar forced to use it, so that's going to buy July even more time. Bisu forced to use his Dark Templar to make sure that July doesn't hurt his economy too much. He's forced to use that, and July almost taking that cannon down, forced to move his Zerglings away, and again, this is going to give him more scouting information, boy, more time. July's got more Overlords up though, but they are being taken down. July, one of the Overlords goes down. July gets the Hydralist down just in time. He's going to try and stop Bisu, and he manages to kill off one of the Corsairs, and again, July continued to harass Bisu into not sending that Dark Templar, so July has bought himself a lot of time, and again, Bisu with only the one gateway, and I think that's a critical decision. He should have invested some resources. He invested resources in producing a few more ground units, and I think he would have been better off perhaps producing that second gateway, because he could have had 2 Dark Templar out in time, and July definitely has neutralized that advantage that Bisu had. He should have his defenses in place for those Dark Templar as they arrive. Bisu now looks like he's going to be setting up that expansion, but I think July won't mind. His economic advantage seems to be intact, and this is going to be the critical play here. If Bisu can effect some sort of damage with these Dark Templar, that'll swing the momentum of the game back in his favor, but if he cannot, then I fear July will be too far ahead in terms of economy for Bisu to do anything about it. And Bisu now, with that Dark Templar, that is being taken up by the Hydralist, but he's actually trying to lure the Hydralist away from that ramp to sneak the other Dark Templar past. Now the Dark Templar is getting up that ramp. It's up the ramp now, but it gets killed just up the ramp. So Bisu, in a stroke of brilliance, trying to lure the Hydralist away, but July realized that's exactly what he was doing and put the Hydralist back just in time, pulled them back. And now July's starting to counter, and Bisu's going to be in trouble here. He's only got that one gateway. His Dark Templar is dead. July has got speed upgraded Overlords though. I think that actually they were upgraded some time back, and I didn't comment on that. That Dark Templar is sneaking back up the ramp now. That Crosshair isn't going to really, single Crosshair isn't going to be, but that Dark Templar is up that ramp, so that's going to cause July some trouble. He has got a single Hydralist though. And that Dark Templar already took some damage earlier on, so he's going to be able to stave off. That Dark Templar is not going to do too much damage. I don't think he's going to kill any of July's units, so July will be able to counter that. And now Bisu's base is in trouble. Those photon cannons are not nearly enough to counter those Hydralists, which are upgraded in terms of their speed at the very least, and Bisu is now in huge trouble because July's going to have reinforcements pouring in. Bisu only has a single gateway. He's got the second gateway up now as well, and he has got a couple of High Templar, which he's morphed into an Archon, but that one Archon with a couple of probes isn't going to do anything, and July is going to take this game. Brilliant play by Julyzerg. He has shown why he is the Zerg versus Protoss master, and Bisu's strategy, I think Bisu, first of all, his tech was a little bit late in terms of his Dark Templar coming out, and July's harass was excellent, and excuse me, Bisu now getting in amongst July's drones with that Dark Templar, but it's too little too late. I'm afraid it's not going to do enough because his own base is in tatters. July has the ability to recover, and July has defended successfully, and Bisu calls GG. And I think the critical point was July knowing exactly what Bisu's building. Those Zerglings he had running around in Bisu's base gave him that scouting information, gave him the critical advantage in that game, and July's timing, play, defense, and countering was absolutely spot on. Brilliant play by Julyzerg, and he shows why he is going to be feared next season, and I'm going to look forward to him in the USL. He of course still has one more match to win before he qualifies, but should he qualify, I think he's going to be a force to be reckoned with, and he's going to prove to be another nemesis for Bisu in terms of Zerg players along with Savior. So that was GG. I hope you guys enjoyed that, and again, I make no promises as to when or if the next commentary might come out. This is Klazart. Thanks for listening, guys.